you can start building completely new concepts for payments that we've never thought of before.
And then new technologies on
and
the
then
back
new
of that.
technologies on that. Now, what happens when you combine, here's another interesting one. Bitcoin is the first financial system in history that doesn't require personhood for ownership of money. Every single financial system we have, at the end of the day, money is owned by either a person or a collection of people as a corporation. That is a fundamental truth. It's required by the legal system. Bitcoin doesn't care. You can be software and you can own money. Software can own money. Let me say that again. Software can own money. We don't know what that does, but let me give you just one example. Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that management. Now, that is a completely bizarre construct. It's one we can't even imagine at the moment. It violates several of the assumptions we make as a society about liability and legal responsibility. As long as it doesn't crash, actually, it does some really interesting things. It's a really damn good taxi in many ways. But that's just one example, and that's not something we have today, only slightly different plus Bitcoin. That's something that is impossible today. And you start opening up these branches of innovation and exploration in science that simply have no precedent. And that's where it really gets interesting. So on a 10 to 20-year horizon, you can't make any predictions anymore because there's no precedent to what you're doing. Just like in 92, you can't predict Facebook. It's impossible to predict it.
Right. That's scary. That has some like AI, fascinating, I mean, you know, pockets of growth and capitalism and businesses like the one you just described could spring up. You would never know some of these things are happening. With these Pico payments, it's hard to even imagine the
what
things
you could do.
Yeah, the markets that would
What does it do to the sharing economy? But to me, it all goes back to this fundamental question. We live on a planet with 7.5 billion people, and 2 to 4 billion people are completely cut off from finance, and almost 5 to 6 billion people are cut off from international finance. What happens to the world economy when you bring 6 billion new people online, people who are productive but disconnected? What happens to their lives? What happens to poverty across the world when you can extend financial services, opportunity, credit, liquidity? Like, even if you're in a developed nation today, where can you invest your money? Nowhere. There is nothing you can invest money in today. The real estate market is a huge bubble. You can't buy cars because that's a huge bubble. Student loans are a bubble in the US now, right? There are no investment outlets because nothing is productive. What about if you're investing in 1 billion people who are in poverty? And I could take £1,000, split it into 1,000 microloans, and join together with 1 million investors to fund those microloans. What happens then? Direct, no banks, no intermediaries, no overheads, no costs. Direct funding, developed world to developing world, person to person. From my smartphone in Trafalgar Square to a Kenyan farmer's text messaging phone, which they can then use to buy seed or stock up a small store or start a sewing business or buy a scooter and use it as a taxi service for a rural environment. That is where Bitcoin's possibility really is. The reason we cannot extend financial services to the rest of the world is not because they don't have money. It's not because they don't have productive potential. It's because banking as a series of brick and mortar, high overhead, high margin services is not scalable. But banking as an app backed by a network-based currency and system of trust scales enormously, and it can be extended into the most remote areas.
To watch the rest of this fascinating interview, click on the link below and go to londonrealacademy.com. There you can sign in with your social media login and watch the rest of the episode for free, along with all of our episodes on London Real, my webinars, and all of our premium content, all located over at londonrealacademy.com. So click on the link below, you'll be directed there and you can watch the rest of this fascinating interview, and I'll see you there.